Are we good to go? Oh, there we go. Marvellous.
We're good to go. So I'd just like to welcome everyone today that we are with Claire Flowers. She is Lapwing's Project Manager for Minding the Gap. She is providing a session on job searching with LinkedIn and social media. We are going to do question and answers in the chat facility, and we'll get to those at the end. I'll let Claire take over. Thank you, Claire.
No, thank you. And hello, everybody. Nice to be spending a little bit of time with you today. So I've been asked to provide you with a little bit of an overview of job searching and the different platforms that you can use when seeking for employment. So before we get started, what I wanted to do was just give you some general advice first. Sometimes we read job descriptions, and those job descriptions we can kind of go, oh, you know, I kind of get that bit, and I'm not that person, and I am that bit. I've got those skills, I haven't got those skills. Just some general advice for you before we begin, which I think is quite powerful. If only we'd have known this when I was applying for work as well. So I'm going to let you listen to this and take from it as you will. So I really wanted to kind of share that with you to get us started here about defining about that person who you want to be and thinking about the roles that you want to go for. And you are going to get knockbacks and you are going to get no's. Applying for a job sadly is now not the easiest thing to do. You know, the last vacancy I had for an apprenticeship, for example, it was a level 3 business admin apprenticeship. I had 27 young people apply for one vacancy. So it's about thinking about what's going to make you stand out when you're making those applications. It's not like we're doing this personally and face to face. When you're applying online, it becomes a little impersonal. So it's about how can you show those skills and qualities and making sure that you are the picture of what they are looking for. Okay, so we're going to have a little think about, as we go through this, where do we start? What do we need to do? So if we're considering an apprenticeship, okay, if you're now starting to think, actually, I don't want to go to university, but I want to carry on learning, an apprenticeship just might be the right pathway for you to take. Now, there are two starting points for me where you are considering this as an avenue. One is the government Find an Apprenticeship site. Now, for this, you need to have a detailed and up-to-date profile. You need to register on this system. Once you've registered on there, make sure that your application details are as up-to-date and as current as possible. That is your online CV into that apprenticeship portal in this instance, okay? In that instance, you will also be asked employer questions that you need to make sure that you do the research on. You need to look at that company, reflect back to that job description and think about the skills and qualities that they're looking for and how you, as that applicant, will actually address those applications. Once you submit your application on the National Apprenticeship website, there is a tracking facility. That tracking facility at that point will tell you whether it's been accepted, whether you've been put forward, whether it's been declined, and if it has been declined, why it's been declined. They do give you some little notes. Another place for you to register where apprenticeships are concerned is Apprenticeship Suffolk. Now, they have their own vacancy portal, and if you go onto their website and click on the vacancies, you'll go into their vacancy portal. And you'll be able to then see what they've got available for you right now if you're thinking of this as an opportunity. They have a contact us page which will release a referral form to you. Again, that referral form is the first instance where you will be able to put your information and it's your sales pitch about what you're looking for and what you want to do. If you're not thinking about an apprenticeship, job searching online, oh my goodness, there's loads of places to go. So I've kind of picked up some key ones here for you to start with. You can't beat a little bit of Indeed. Obviously, on Indeed, you can set up your job alerts. You can set up an online CV. So when you are making those applications online, you can submit them quite quickly. I would advise, though, that you do have an online draft cover letter that kind of sits with it. And don't forget, you might need to change your CV as well, depending on the roles that you're going for. So you can really highlight the skills and the qualities that match those job roles. It really isn't a one CV fits all process here. So just be aware of that. Jobs 24, now that's your local jobs page, which used to be in the Evening Star a long time ago when I was looking for work. And it's now all online and it's all vacancies that are available in the Ipswich and Suffolk area. CV Library. Now, CV Library is an agency. It's one agency of many, okay, that are out there. And you can go on there and you can use a filter system on there to absolutely streamline what they've got on there in order for you to make your applications. Suffolk Jobs Direct. If you're looking to get into working with local authorities, education, if you're looking to get into the business sector, there are all kinds of opportunities on Suffolk Jobs Direct. Again, you have to generate an account and you can upload a CV and it's ready and raring to go. So the minute you see that option, that opportunity that you want to consider, then you can then start to upload. So you're going to start to realise you're going to have lots of different accounts all over the place. Thinking about you've got to sign up for portals here, you've got to sign up for accounts there, and it is about them monitoring those accounts. So top tip for you here, try and keep your username very simple. So it is one, you don't tend to forget, oh, what did I use for that one or what did I use for that one? And obviously think about your passwords as well. Use something that's familiar to you. So when you are logging in, you don't forget those critical details of, oh no, I've got to change my password. iCanBeer is another source of information for applying online, and it can houses an awful lot of information about industry. So when you're doing that company research, when you're doing that application process, then sometimes these are really good places for you to go. They also have a jobs page as well. So for any companies that advertise on the iCanBeer website, there is also a job page for you to go to. So when you're searching and applying for work online, there's a lot for you to kind of think, I can't just go to a one-stop shop here. I've absolutely got to spread my net as far as wide as I can. There are sector-specific agencies out there like Suffolk Care Careers if you wanted to work within the health and social care, and you could register with them at the same time. All this is going to do is take you a little bit of time on a bit of a Google search to find out who is going to be able to support you best in the field of work that you want to go into. And don't forget company websites. Some companies will only ever apply or advertise on their own websites. So, you know, if you're thinking that you want to work for a specific company or within a specific industry, start searching on company websites as well. They'll have an online portal. Again, you're likely to have to generate some kind of account or register. And then once you've got onto that registration process, you'll access their portal. Okay. So when we are talking about social media platforms, we'll start with the big one out there. We'll start with Facebook. Facebook for me has got a massive, big job community on it. A lot of our local areas have got their own Facebook job pages. So for example, there's a brilliant page on Felixstowe. So if any of you are from Felixstowe, there's a Felixstowe jobs and community page. Within that jobs and community page, people are advertising vacancies, and you'll find that these vacancies are for your, what I call your small to medium employers. So they're reaching out to their local areas and their local communities because they want to actually employ somebody who lives local to them. So they're a really good starting point, okay, in thinking about what you want to do. If you are going to use a social media platform such as Facebook, take heed of this warning. Make sure that your own personal security settings are locked down. If you're applying through a social media platform, don't dare think that that employer is then not going to search you. Have a little look about what you're doing. Think about what your social media presence is. Think about what your pictures you might have, what videos have been uploaded of you. Think about what impression that absolutely creates. I, as an employer, will quite happily Google any of my potential candidates just to see what might pop up about them. I actually was interviewing one day with a young lad and he was applying for an apprenticeship vacancy. And absolutely, the interview went swimmingly. He couldn't have asked for it to go well. He couldn't have asked for it to go much better. That employer then went away and he did do exactly what I've said and search for them on Facebook. Now, sadly, his photographs that were presented of him did not really present the company image that this company was looking for. This guy lost the job and that opportunity because of what his social media platform was about. So just consider that when you are starting to make those, those applications about what information is already out there on our digital platforms about you. Oh, sorry about that. I've skipped one by accident. LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, I would say, is your professional platform. So if you're looking to get into industry, you need to have a good LinkedIn profile. There is a wealth of job and opportunity on there, and it's also a really good place to market yourself as looking for new opportunities. Be clear about what opportunities that you're looking for and make sure that you are monitoring this. These are business professionals. So if you're advertising yourself as fresh for new opportunities, and they're coming to you with those opportunities, you need to be responding to them in a really timely fashion. Okay, professional communication normally starts off on LinkedIn through a private messaging service, and then it will evolve from there. Again, you can absolutely filter job roles on the LinkedIn profile, and you can you can spread your net a little bit further afield for those of you who would like to go onto the London portals and so forth. You can do that. So it's certainly something for you to think about. Okay. So what are my top tips for when you're applying online? Okay, it's about getting that job. So update your CV. Make sure your CV has got all of those information, all the most up-to-date information on you about it. Consider what Michelle Obama was saying in her motivational speech earlier on in this presentation. Think about what community work have you done? Where have you kind of stepped outside of the box? This is your opportunity to kind of personalize your CV and give somebody a bit of an insight into the kind of person that you are and the skill sets that you have. There are lots of free platforms for you to put CVs together on, so don't get caught out by inputting all of your information and then having to pay £15 or £20 at the end of it. Google Docs is a really good starting point, and you do have a great online feed which is called the CV Wizard. Again, completely free to use, and it will kind of generate a CV for you. But make sure that it's kind of portraying the person that you want it to be. Update your profile on your professional networking platform. So if you are out there looking for work on those recruitment platforms, recruiters and companies prefer looking at your profile on professional networking platforms rather than on your CV. So they might put in a bit of a search. If you're looking for business opportunities, then you can absolutely search for a business opportunity with employers. So they might kind of go on and go, right, I'm looking for somebody business, filter anything with business in it and look for those that are looking for new opportunities. So make sure that your profile is up to date and think about the types of things you're following on your LinkedIn profile. So are you following companies with a similar interest? Are you following companies that can, or professionals where you might be able to upskill and gain further knowledge? Have you looked at potentially free courses that are available through either LinkedIn or other avenues that can enhance the skill sets that you're looking for if you're looking for that something specific? Use keywords. Find keywords and job descriptions that absolutely reflect who you are and the skill set you've got. It can really help your CV and help a recruiter to scan through and make sure that they're getting the right applications. Like I say, some companies will make sure as well they're only going to take the first 20 that land on their desk, because absolutely going through CVs and matching them up to a job description is exceptionally timely. And if they're searching for staff, then they're busy people. So just think about making sure that you make that CV reflect that job description and the key skills that they're looking for. I can't stress enough, don't send me a CV which has kind of got lots of skills and qualities for, I don't know, a career in hairdressing when you're absolutely applying for something in a law facility. So you've got to make sure that the two absolutely correspond to one another. Use job search engines and company websites. So reiterating what I've said here, many companies post open positions to their job search engine website. So you can search websites like Indeed, you can look at different filters, the position titles, salaries, locations. There's lots of ways in which you can filter, if you like, what it is you're looking for. Be selective. Make sure you understand the requirements of the job, okay? Only apply if you meet the position's requirements. It's better to apply for that job and that organisation that matches your goal, okay? So think about that. Be specific about what you are applying for. And don't go to that one industry and go, oh, they've got 4 vacancies. Oh my God, this is amazing. No, don't apply for all 4. Just throw your hat in for one, because if you're selected, if you look for all 4, then they're going to kind of, it's not going to look at you in the most positive of ways. Okay, draft that separate cover letter for each application. If you're applying for it online, and that cover letter is either going to be now a cover email or something, but never just hit that submit button and send if it's an email application. always put some detail in that email to kind of thank them for their time, look at what they've applied for, and the fact that you're attaching an application. Completing that job app. Now that's the same, regardless of whether you are doing this online, if you're doing it hand, typing up and send it, or whether you're doing it by hand, spelling, grammar, proofreading it, print it out, make sure you're happy with it. You've got to make sure that your applications and your actual information that you're putting out there is 100% correct. The last thing you want is for it to get through and absolutely you get turned down because you haven't filled in the top part of the application form in capital letters, which is where it specifically asked you to do that. And companies they use that as a little bit of a tipping point of, wow, absolutely, I've got 50 applicants here. Now they've not even followed the most basic of instructions when it comes to, oh my God, they haven't even done it in capital letters like we've asked. So just make sure you read the instructions of your application process so you know you get this right. And don't be afraid to follow up. I might have forgotten to put this one on here, but always track your application forms, okay? Don't be afraid to follow up. Ring that company and, if you haven't heard past the closing date, saying, look, I'd really like some feedback on my application of where it might have gone wrong. And it might be something as simple as, well, actually, on the day, we had 2 other people who had got more experience than yourself, so that was why. And you get to understand then what you need to be doing in order to make your application stronger. And again, going back to then what Michelle Obama was saying, look at volunteer work experience, get yourself out there and build the skill set that you need to enhance that application process. By doing this all online, like we've said, it kind of takes the personal element out of it. So you've got to try and get your personality and you've got to get your skill set and why they should pick you over that other person in an online application form. Nobody was saying that's going to be easy, however. So let's hear from the experts. Okay, so as he's kind of said there, it's a bit of a contact sport applying for work. And this is where social media platforms do come into their own a little bit, in the sense that you can start to make inroads with people within those companies that you want to work for. You can link up with those companies, you can follow them on LinkedIn, and you can then start to get a real good feel for that organisation. Also then gives you some people that you kind of start to message outside of, and being proactive by saying, look, I hope you don't mind me contacting you, but I've really got a strong interest in the industry. And you start those conversations with people perhaps off the general public pages of those social media sites. So I'm hoping that you found this reasonably useful. And at this point, what I'm going to do is, I've seen a few questions popping up there in the chat. So if you've got any more, please do add them to it. I'm going to go into the chat and then we will take it from there. 2 seconds. Okay, so going into this chat here. Okay, we are looking at, oh gosh, there's loads of you. Brilliant, excellent. Do I need to go for the paid version of LinkedIn, or does the free one suffice? You can certainly search for jobs on the free one. I certainly don't pay a premium to go onto LinkedIn, if I'm being completely honest. You can still access those jobs, you can still filter through them, and you can still search for them. So you can absolutely get a LinkedIn profile and start looking for work on there. So that's not a problem. So did you put a photo of yourself on your CV? Now, we went through a phase of this a little while back where lots of people started putting pictures of pictures of yourself on your CV. Now, what I would say is people are discouraging that. You absolutely want to be selective because of your skills and qualities, and not because somebody's made an impression of what you look like. So I would agree that as much as we think, it's social digital marketing times, that would be great, we do discourage you now putting a photo of yourself onto your CV. And if you're anything like me, you'd need filters and all sorts to make me look something that I don't really look like in real life. Okay, so what is a cover letter, and what should it contain, and how long should it be? So a cover letter is literally an overview of what you're doing. It's that whole please find attached to my application, I'd like to be considered for the post of. And this is, like he was saying in the last video, a case of you being able to turn around at that point and saying, and I have these skills, and I can see that you've got multiple vacancies available at the moment, and these skills would, cross-reference across them all. It doesn't need to be long, and it certainly doesn't need to replicate your application. So it's literally a bit like, it's a bit like, the back page of the book that you pick up and you're like, it gives you a synopsis of the story. It's your synopsis that's going to happen on that cover letter. Would you encourage handing your CV in person or online? So this one for me is always tricky. Okay, so if they're asking for an online application, you need to submit an online application. What I would probably do is, if I was proactively going, I want to work for that company, I want to work for that company, I want to work for that company, that's when I would take my CV, my cover letter in and personally deliver it. If you're going to do that, don't rock up there in your jeans and hoodie. Make sure that you do need to, you're presenting yourself the way you want to be received. Okay, so if you are going to go into these organisations on a face-to-face and hand deliver CVs, then certainly you can do so. I worked with a young lad last year and we did exactly that. He wanted a particular job in a particular industry. We handed out something like 15 CVs into companies, and he was really lucky that he did get something off the back of it. So there are many ways to apply for work, and we don't have to rely on the World Wide Web to help us out. Those of you that have said the video hasn't worked, I am going to be submitting a copy of the slides to Suffolk One, so please feel free to ask them for them, and then they can give those to you and you can watch them in your own time. So what are the key differences and similarities between a CV and a cover letter? So your CV is factual information about your skills, your experience, your qualifications, and what you have done. Your cover letter is your synopsis. It's that overview of you, of, you know, your little sales pitch, if you like. Why should I pick you up and not the other person? Okay. If you see a vacancy advertised, is it worth contacting the company before applying? I would encourage that. Certainly if it says for more information or for an informal chat, please contact blah, 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 blah. But make sure you're prepared. Make sure you've got your questions written down. Make sure that you know what you want to ask them and you know what information you want to get from them. And I would always discourage you from speaking to them about company benefits or any kind of financial packages at that point. You are just at this point showing that you are interested and you're kind of breaking that initial communication barrier down with an informal contact call. We do it all the time, and there are lots of people now that take up that opportunity of, they've just got a question about this. I haven't got that. Is it still worth me applying for it? And have those conversations up front. Completely would agree with that statement. Similar to Alison's question, is it better to apply directly through the company's website than through sites on LinkedIn? Or Indeed, sorry. I would say yes. If you've got an opportunity to apply directly to a company, I would apply directly to that company. They're then picking those up internally through their human resources channels and then filtering them out. And sometimes you see companies will put a closing date of perhaps 2 or 3 weeks beforehand. But if you're a really strong CV and a really strong candidate, they might bring you in before that, just to have that interview and kind of get to know you a little bit more. How about filming yourself and submitting a short film or posting a film on a platform such as Instagram to say that you were looking for work and listing your strengths? I haven't heard of this kind of marketing before. The only time I've heard of this kind of marketing is with apprenticeships. Through the COVID situation, what people have been asking them to do is answer some key questions and film themselves doing that and then sending it back so the employer can kind of get a bit of a picture of who you are and what you're doing. I would say if you are going into a creative or a digital marketing field or looking at the film industry or so forth, it is a great way of showing your talents. I would also say if you've kind of got your own little business as well and you've set up your own Facebook pages, LinkedIn pages, company-based these are, or even got your own web page, again, I would also make sure you put them somewhere on your CV so companies can kind of see how proactive you've been. And it kind of displays the type of work and what you're already doing. So I'm not sure I would encourage lots of, you know, hi, this is who I am, because you never know quite what an employer is looking for. And you want to match some skills and qualities. And what you don't want them to do is go, oh, well, I saw that video and perhaps then you're not really matching that job or you're not really kind of hitting all of the criteria. But I would never say never in the world of work. The more inspirational sometimes you can be when applying for work, you know, the likely is your chances will be stronger. Are there any other questions for me before we finish today's session? No, that's brilliant. Well, I hope you found this all really useful and I do hope that you will take something away from it. And I wish you all the best now in applying for your online applications. Thanks very much.